Hey everybody, my name is JJJ, and this is Eye of a Samurai. Today I'm going to be doing a commentary on a match that I had, I'm the Mitsurugi player on the left, against one of my friends, Menace, the Aeon player on the right. This was at last year's NEC. If you can go to this year's NEC, it happens in early December, please do. It is the largest Soul Calibur tournament in the world every year, I believe. And this is going to be Mitsurugi versus Aeon. I find that there's quite a handful of people who don't really understand how to deal with Aeon, which I find kind of surprising. Aeon is a very odd character in the sense that if you look at his whole move list, the majority of his moves are pretty wonky and just pretty bad, slow or unsafe, or a variety of other maladies. But at the same time, he has a handful of moves that are some of the best in the game, namely 6-6A, which is a step killer that reaches everywhere, 1B, which gives him ring-out opportunities from all across the stage. But at the same time, you'll notice that the majority of the moves that he has that are good are also mids, meaning he doesn't really have any lows. In fact, he's probably the least tricky character I can think of on this roster. I mean, I'm looking at it now. They all have at least something to worry about other than mids. Aeon does not. So it's a lot of dealing with Aeon, at least in my eyes, is risk aversion. It's trying to minimize the amount of opportunities that you can give to Aeon to the point where really the only way that he can kill you is with punishing or being correct on grabs over and over and over again, in which case surely he's going to be wrong once in a while. When it comes to Mitsurugi versus Aeon, I think Mitsurugi wins the matchup most definitely. I think he wins up close, but he can also play the mid-range poking game as he can against pretty much the rest of the cast. And so a lot of what you're going to be seeing me do is lame stuff out. And one of the other moves that Aeon has that's really strong is 3B, but you're not really going to see that too much here because against Mitsurugi specifically, one of the reasons why Aeon 3B is so powerful is because unlike other 3Bs, it pushes out to quite an extent, meaning that it's difficult for people to punish. That's not really the case for Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi can still punish it. That being said, from what I remember from the set, I don't really punish it very well for most of the time. But in any case, let's get into the set. One thing I do want to say before I start is that stage selection is also incredibly important. Basically, I want the most average of average stages at all times against Aeon. Aeon will want something on the extremes. A small box or a triangle stage, something that gives him massive amounts of ring-out opportunities, or he'll probably want an infinite stage, because Aeon's backdash is one of the best, and so he could go the ultra-lame game. So when I'm trying to do the mid-range, he's trying to do the incredibly long-range game, and just jab at me with 6-6A. So for me, the more middle-of-the-road stage that we get, the better it is for me. Alright, let's see what we get first. Will we get the God stage? Yeah. A lot of what you're going to be seeing me do is try to just guard 6-6A. You get a pretty solid punish out of that. And trying to maneuver around his 2A. And you're going to see a lot of this. A lot of just spacing around, forcing him to block. He thought that I was going to go low there after the 4BK. I get a just frame, which is really weird. So there was a handful of decisions that go into the first round there. I try to force him to block, so I catch him with a low. And then a lot of what you're going to be seeing is post-safe move on block into him trying to guess at something. So he gets hit by this BB because he thinks that I'm going to go with like a 6P2 or potentially like a run-up grab. It's something that I do a lot. But he ends up being wrong. I'm not sure why I got this just frame here, but then now he's mashing on Wake Up, which tends to be one of Menace's weaknesses, and it gets him in trouble here. And before he can start to get his bearing and everything, I want to try to win this round as quickly as possible, so I do a run-up 2KB. Now, when I was first watching this, I kind of remember thinking to myself, well, this is a pretty good decision to do 2KB here because it'll catch him really quickly, he won't know what's coming, and it's not really that much of a risk. But if you see, Aeon just got his meter, so technically speaking, if you block that 2KB, I would have been dead. So I remember when trying to watch this set to figure out if I want to, like, pat myself on the back for that decision, I realized it was actually one of the worst decisions that I could have made. That being said, it ended up working out. So let's see how he adjusts. Yeah, you see me do the 2-3-6 because I want to do a 2-3-6B charge. See, here was a botched just guard, that's why I did a 3B right after the 6-6A. If I just guard the 6-6A, which is what I assumed that I did, I would have gotten the 3B punish wholeheartedly. So I'm just trying to, like, make him whiff. So the reason why I do the 4KB here, like I said, a lot of this match is going to be post 6-6A slash, what is that, 4BK on block. If he had mashed 2A, that would have worked, but he ended up not doing that. I back up there because I think he's going to mash. And yeah, eventually he's just gonna... He's doing a really good job of not falling for... Again, he's kind of doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. He's not giving me opportunities to make these types of comebacks that I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to catch him while coming in. Nice punish, Jay. Ooh, well, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. 4BK, maybe? You'll also see me jam a lot of 6-6BB and 4KB just because their hitboxes are wide, and Aeon's one of the characters that's very fat. He's very wide hitboxes, especially when he's like moving around. This is something that you can do as Mitsurugi against wider type characters, Aeon, Astaroth, or characters that have bad sidestep like an Algol. It's, you know, and if you just do the first part of the string, you're still relatively safe, so it's not a bad idea, I don't think. So yeah, just trying to catch him a lot. And I win the second, my second round. Now I'm trying to put him in mix-up situations just to see what his mix-up defense is like. For me, it's important to note, wow, I was really adamant about that, that back BK. It was a good, I noticed that every time he backsteps, he catches me with a 3B. He should probably be doing that more often. I'm comfortable with ducking now because I have a life lead and a round lead. And at this point I'm just trying to come up with like a small poke, or he'll just run into something. Because it's, the onus is kind of on him to initiate some sort of a situation. Now obviously he's going to be changing the stage as fast as he can. There's a lot of other stages that are a lot better for him. So he's just kind of getting outpoked, he's getting a little bit outlamed. When he is trying to lame me out, it's working out better. So maybe he should be doing that more often. This stage I'm okay with until the gates go down, and then it becomes a relatively decent ring-out stage. I know I'm kind of a scrub for throwing out the second hit of that string, but you know, I just wanted to see what he was like. This is another mix-up situation that you might have seen. I catch him with wall rising A, which puts him in perfect ring-out or mix-up opportunity, but he doesn't fall for it. Oh, I think I thought I was in back turn there. This is also something that you'll see against Aeon and Mitsurugi. We both have techable knockdown grabs, and so a lot of the kind of mix-up that you're going to be seeing is tech forward and mash in order to beat what their follow-up is going to be, or tech back and into evasive move, maybe like 4B for me, or maybe 4BK for him, or just backstepping in general. So in this situation, we both tech forward and mash, and it hits both of us. Well, I don't get hit, but my offensive pressure is slowed. Here I decide to just take it to calm it down. Yeah. One of the things that I'm having difficulty with nowadays is trying to get away from the barrage of small, fast pokes that my opponents can do. You can tell that I'm getting a little bit frustrated after that last round. Yeah, I'm starting to get hit by some real big stuff. Plus both gates fall down, and that's bad news for me too. It's a good whip punish. and go whip punch again. Both of those rounds were a lot of him just nickel and diming me with 6-6A, 2-2B, stuff like that. So I had to figure out a way around that 2A, where he whiffs something that's relatively safe, and then 2A's me when I'm trying to start pressure. There's the 6-6B jam again. It's important to note that with Aeon, like kind of what I was talking about before with like the characters with wider hitboxes, he also uses 4BK because it has weird invulnerability, but 6-6B will also jam through that. Now, you might remember what I was talking about when I said risk aversion. The second that I had built up enough momentum, I kind of just killed it all on my own. I notice he's trying to like lay in wait. The only way that I lose this match very quickly is if I go right over there. And that's the last thing I want to do. I want to force my Aeon opponent to guess correctly at least 12 times in order to kill me here. I'm okay with that trade. And at this point, that's not that much of a risk because we're in the middle of the stage and I have so much life to burn. So I'm not just using my stage positioning as an advantage, I'm also using my life advantage. Yeah. So it's just a matter of trying to make it impossible for your opponent to make comebacks. Aeon is a very comeback-heavy type character. Mitsurugi is too, especially when he has meter. Yeah, I'm not punishing that all that well. And I'm also not getting the punishes off of duck grabs, which is really bad news. It's a weakness that I've had for a while. So I'm trying to put him in the blender now. Surprised he didn't break that grab. A grab is something that a lot of Mitsurugi players do when they're close to the edge. And I'm just catching him going in again. I do that a handful of times. Especially when I have the life lead. I think it was because he was frustrated with the fact that being passive didn't really work so well in the previous round. Here he throws out a really wonky wall rising B after a post hit, which confused me. Yeah, see, it's a lot of like, he whiffs a safe move, or something that recovers quickly, and then mashes 2A or doesn't. So a lot of the mix-up situations are me trying to get through that obstacle course. I still duck a crap, but I don't get anything out of it. So I think I caught a backdash there. At the very end there, you'll see that I'm just trying to set something up. I assumed that he was going to get up quickly and mash, which is why I did the 6-6 AB to like scare him off, but he didn't, and so that screwed up my timing. So it was pretty good. He threw out a lot of like relatively awkward things at the end of that round that kind of confused me. It's a matter of breaking up his normal timing. Yeah, I mean, he gets a whiff punish there, but it's really not that big of a deal. I'm throwing out a lot of errant hits, and I'm kind of looking the fool to a certain extent, but I'm relatively okay with that, to be honest. I'm not getting hurt all that much. I take a big risk there, but again, he had to be right like about 10 times there in that round. I feel like if I'm right once, then things will go more my way. Speaking of which. And see, like, I'm not really taking risks. I'm not really moving. I'm just throwing out good moves at disadvantage, or at advantage. See, that was all off of that 6-6 AB errant hit. You know. And if that ends up whipping, I eat like a 6-6A, and it's not really that big of a deal. There's a big difference in the amount of damage that I'm sacking. That's partially, to be honest, on Menace. He could be punishing me with some better things, but it's also just like a disadvantage of playing Aeon. And have you guys noticed this is like the third time that he's had me like camped out in the corner, and I eat like 50,000 like small pokes? He seems to be doing like really well there. Perhaps worrying about stage positioning rather than poking around is the way to go. He catches me in the move there. Not sure why that hit me up. So I do the B grab to reverse the situation. Stage positioning wise, that is. You see me do a jump there because it'll get away from grabs and small pokes, and I also drop the punish there because it's not going to kill. I'd rather go for a grab opportunity, which is going to kill if I'm right. Yeah, and the 4KB, which was not working before, but will still be like, you know, trying to challenge in that situation. Let me see if I can go back to that. So like right after I get hit by a 6-6A, and that bothered me, so I ran up to him. So I block a relatively safe thing, and so his options are to like move back or to challenge me moving back. So rather than reset the situation, he decides to challenge, and I'm going to meet that with just straightly like I have frame advantage, so I'm going to try and beat this, because what beats me here is backdash, which I don't think he's going to do, or like a second 2A, which I'm okay with eating. Meanwhile, this wins me the round.
Fight.
Yeah. This is kind of like how the last round went too, or the last round of the previous game. I'm trying to use my mix-ups as just like an ace in the hole. Low mid was like the same pattern that I used before. And there we go. Because if I get hit again, I have such a life advantage. So a lot of this is just you know, risk reward type stuff. He wants to change the stage again. Again, he wants like a triangle stage. He doesn't get it. I'm pretty comfortable on like all the stages that we had. So as long as it's not a triangle stage, as long as it's not the raft, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're just challenging each other, challenging small frame advantage. Yeah, he's getting a lot of run counters, as Aeon is, you know, tends to do. Ooh, James 3B right in my face. I'm not sure why I'm eating 1-1K over and over again. Yeah, now he's getting like way too mashy, and he rolls the wrong way. If you roll the other way, you're probably going to be fine from 6-6B while prone. Whoa, he's getting a little bit too impatient. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing is that he's not trying to punish regular 3B. He's trying to work off of the Brave Edge. Hey, this is the JJJ. Run up 2KB, turning into K-Slide B, and losing all my frame advantage and stage positioning and becoming sad. No, but he reverses the situation. I don't think that was such a good idea of this. So like I was saying, one of the things that I got from that round was he's not really punishing 3B. He's waiting for the Brave Edge each time. So I'm going to work on potentially getting like a guard break, or at least getting him into guard pressure by jamming 3B a lot. 6-6AB also helps with that. Nah, he gets me. I'm really happy that the glass didn't break there. Oh, I got lucky with like a cheesy 4B. See, I'm just like working with like 3Bs. Oh, but he catches me there. Yeah, the 4B kind of chewed him up this time around. And 57th time is the charm with 3B. He just got a little bit too scared of 2KB. A lot of people, this is just like specific to Mitsurugi in general, you'll see a lot of people when they get hit by 2K and just 2K when they're prone, they'll tend to get up and mash. So I can jam a 6-6B in there. Ah, he missed a whip punish opportunity. I'm just trying to like back away. I'm just trying to get out of there so I can reset it to like a situation like this. That's good. He's just trying to open me up. I notice that we're playing a lot of back and forth, so I go for the 6AB. And I'm going back to the mix-up game. Ah, he mashed on wake up. No. You'll see me jump here, because again, look at the amount of damage that I took. That was like practically nothing. And I go for a grab opportunity, which you're not supposed to do. But yeah. Menace had told me, I had asked him what his thoughts were before I made this video, and he said that he really wished that he had spaced out a little bit more. And although I can kind of see that, there were a handful of opportunities, it's important to note that most of the time that he had a lot of forward aggressive momentum was when he had me locked down in the corner. If he had tried to set up those situations more often, I don't know, academically I understand what you were talking about, Menace, but it would seem like in the match, the places where you were most successful and running over me is when you blocked down my own movement. So maybe looking forward to that is a way to go. But yeah, most of it is just both Menace and me looking for the least risky ways of setting up pressure and setting up a poking game, and I think Mitsurugi is just better at that. So as long as I can traverse the obstacle course of something like a 2B or a 2A at mid-range after he whiffs like a move that recovers quickly, then I should be fine. But that was the set. I think that was 3-1 or 3-2. And let me know what you guys like. Let me know what you don't like. I recently got a new microphone. Please let me know if it sounds better or worse. Hopefully not worse. That would be terrible. But I'll see you guys next time. All right. Thanks very much.